In this episode of Man vs. Marriage, the saga continues. Coaching, Quincy Moran.
Podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast.
And welcome to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. We are so happy that you joined us. We love the love that you are sharing. It is so great to have you here. It is me, the Q-Diggity Dog, in the studio with
Coach Rita.
Coach Rita. That's right. You heard it here first. And my daughter Gracie is in the studio listening to me pour out my soul and become a vulnerable dad. I think I do that sometimes. I know I do it sometimes anyway, but this is just an opportunity to just capitalize on that. And I look to do it more. All right, Coach Rita.
All right.
I'm handing this microphone. No, I'm keeping this microphone. You have your own. I'm handing it over to you, and as I do, I will take a drink of water.
All right. Well, it's a lot of discovery, I think, from episode 39 to this episode. And in your discovery, you putting together a plan of attack, of action. Because so many times we have the discovery, the enlightenment, revelation, whatever it is that you want to call it. But we never take action towards that. And that's where everything starts to change, is your willingness to take action to what you've just discovered. Most of us just sit in the discovery or the revelation of or the awareness. Oh, that's how I am. But none of us are willing to take action towards that. So I'm just curious for the listener out there, doing episode 39, was it 39? No.
We did episode
37.
37.
Being coached.
Yep.
Or
Started
you
there.
just pretty much putting it all out there on 37.
Yeah.
Just with your work situation, just the struggles that you're faced with. And then 38 and 39, it was just, just talking to you and asking you questions. And how did you get to that point where you made the decision to take action? What in your mind said, I need to do something about this, or I need to make a decision to change? Because basically that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So what in your mind, what was the catalyst to make you do what it is that you just shared in that last episode of you taking action, getting coached? If we're talking about your work environment, one thing I told you to do, who's your mentor? Who could you reach out to? Who could be that listening ear for you? And you reached out and you did it. Like, most people don't do that. Do you get where I'm coming from?
I do.
And it's really just to give the listeners a tool, a thought process of how you got there.
That's not easy. I mean, you didn't
Well,
say
I didn't say it was gonna be.
I didn't expect it to be either. There's so many things firing off in my mind of why I did it. What caused me, and I truly believe it's, if I could find somewhere to start, if I could find somewhere to start, it kind of starts with, I made a commitment a long time ago, and when I redefined my life philosophy, that I wanted to improve. And one of those things that you got to do when you improve is I want to become a better version of me every day.
Right.
And the way that we, one of the things that you taught us a long time ago, the only non-renewable currency that we're associated with is time.
Time.
And if I'm saying that I want to change, I'm confronted with an opportunity to change, and I don't act on it, I'm wasting your time. I'm wasting my time. And I just believe that time is too valuable for that. And I am committed, I'm absolutely committed to a fault sometimes to be a man of my word. And I just will not say something and then in the secret part of me not live up to it. Sometimes I try and I fail miserably.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try again. And when and also, I've been the beneficiary of great coaching by you, by Bill. And I now know the value of putting action to those things that you look at and you say, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And and so I looked at it and said, I have to live up to to who I'm saying I'm going to be. I have to live up to that. It's the standard I set for my life. I want to be a better person. It is in me to inspire people to get better. But if I say something and then I'm confronted with it and I don't do anything about it, why would you waste your time helping me? Why would I waste your time? If I believe what you have is valuable, if I believe what I have is valuable, why would I waste that? Why would I waste something valuable? And to me, it was an opportunity to say, do you believe people asking for help is failure? I could not stand the thought of me thinking that. And I wanted to change it immediately. Because I can say that I don't believe that, but my actions
Are speaking louder.
My actions told me this is what you believe. So that's kind of, I don't want to give I want to give a great answer.
Well, I think you did, because when you break it down, there's 4 things that you said that you listeners can ask yourself is your commitment to yourself, your words that you speak to yourselves. Are you a person of integrity? Because that's the commitment that you made to you. I'm going to be the best version of myself. That's your own personal commitment. It's nothing nobody put on you. It's what you have told yourself. So you listeners, ask yourself, where is my commitment to myself? Because we normally put ourselves last instead of not putting ourselves first and saying, this is the commitment that I've made to myself, whether it be your health, relationships, whatever, you name it, whatever. Where's your commitment? What have you told yourself? And if you haven't, what are you willing to commit and say, this is what I'm going to do? And then you just having a standard that you live by, because it all comes back to being the best version of you, how you are showing up. I have this standard in my mind of how I want to represent myself and how it is that I want to be received as a person. And this is my standard. And you have a commitment, you have a standard, and you take action to that. Whatever it is that I need to do in order to fulfill what I've promised myself, I'm going to take action towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding your worth, I think, is a huge thing. Your value of who you are and what you want to become.
Mm. Yeah.
Because if you don't have what it is you want to become, what it is that you're working towards, this is the best version of me, and I'm willing to put action in whatever it's going to do to keep my promise to me. So you could ask yourself, if you've broken promises after promises after promises to yourself, that, you know, you just pretty much just don't do nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think a lot of us get discouraged. We get disappointed. You know, things don't come out, you know, they just didn't come out the way that we thought that they would. And then we lose hope in ourselves. We just kind of put ourselves on the back burner. And then we lose that worth and that value, and we just take whatever comes our way. So there's definitely things that you have said, even though you say, I'm not giving a good answer. You are, because you've made a commitment to yourself, and you live by this standard, and you are willing to do whatever it's going to take to get there.
Yeah.
And that's just having, you know, just a attitude of I'm just willing to do whatever it takes, whatever it's going to take. And it only hurts for a moment, in the sense of, not even really hurts, it's just uncomfortable. It's just
Right.
very, very uncomfortable. Because how did you feel calling the guy and saying, hey, like, you want to be my friend? I'm only kidding, but you know what I mean?
I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little embarrassing to think I don't have all the answers, because I have I've been putting, I would have to say, thousands of hours of study into this keto lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an authority in that for people.
Right.
But there's people who know more than me, and it's like, well, why do you worry about being embarrassed? Where's the harm? I told somebody that I hired a coach, and they said, well, what's the matter? They're like, why? Are you giving up? I'm like, no. I want to further my education on this. I want to grow. I'm not tired of it. I want to I want to get better. I want to go next level. And in sports, you know, it takes a great coach.
Yep.
It's everything that I say on this microphone, and to the people in my life, and to myself. But I wasn't doing it. Even the coach gets coached. Why not?
Very true.
Why not? It's a lifestyle you live. So why wouldn't I?
Right.
You know, I'm telling you, when I hear things that just click, you know, when Jim Rohn was speaking, and he said, discipline's measured in ounces, regret is measured in tons. I'm sick and tired of regretting the same old cycle. And it's like, why am I settling for the same cycle, the same disappointment?
Right.
Life is so valuable. It's such a great gift. Why don't I just honor it with changing these things so I don't have to regret it? It's so hard to move regret.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to come. It's like, I don't want to come to this same time next year
Right.
and be circling the same mountain, the same cycle, the same frustrations. Why? It doesn't make sense to me anymore. Life is too valuable.
Right.
Time is too valuable. Action's too valuable, especially when I know what I can become, and how much more valuable, you know, I can be to the people around me that need what I need.
Right.
So I don't want no regrets. No regrets. I've never
Right.
seen the movie, but it's still funny.
I know you mentioned, just being embarrassed. It's like so many people don't ask for help, and even people in, um, marriages, they won't ask for help out of embarrassment, out of what are people going to think? You know, um, if we go to counseling or marriage, um, a marriage intervention, a marriage conference, you name it. It's like out of embarrassment, people will hold themselves back not to do what they know they need to do. And the courageous, the brave, smart people are the ones that understand reaching out to get someone else's perspective or reaching out to get someone else's insight. Because, like I always say, when you're in it, you don't see it for what it is. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just need a third party in there to just see it and give it a different light, a different perspective. And we all hold ourselves back out of the embarrassment of what someone else is going to think of me.
Yeah.
And we stay there, we stay stuck there. And there's so much help out there, there's so much resources out there. You name a subject and you could have it at your fingertips.
Yeah. It's out there.
It's just amazing the information that is available to us out there.
Yeah.
And so I just want to encourage the listeners that if that's you, that you're holding back out of embarrassment, what are people going to think? It's like, just think of that one thing that you're so afraid to do because you're afraid of what your friends are going to say, your family is going to say. Just one thing, just pick one thing, because we all have that one thing that, I'm not going to do that because, my friends will make fun of me or this or that. And start taking action towards that,
Mm-hmm.
because it really is building confidence in yourself. Because really, when you think about it, if it's your friends that are going to talk bad about you, if it's your family that's going to talk bad about you, just stepping outside and doing something that you believe in, you really got to rethink of your friends, like rethink about who you're hanging out with, if that's who you're worried about, their response.
Yeah.
Because I would hope my friends would embrace something, that I would be doing, like this podcast. Is it family and friends that are going to support you? Or are they going to make fun of you? Or are they going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you step out there, you just really can't care. You just really can't care what they think. And it's just doing those little steps of action.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be amazed at yourself for just stepping out and doing that.
Yeah. And, it's like, first of all, you got to give yourself a break.
Huge break.
You got to give yourself a break. And you kind of got to decide, what do you want to do? What do you
That's
want?
important.
And it's like, what hurts more? Being embarrassed or regretting time that you can never get back?
Right.
What's the greater pain here? And that's kind of how it's weighed out,
Yeah.
And that's something that kind of will weigh heavy on me. It's like, well, and that was a Tony Robbins thing. It's like the pain of action or the pain of inaction. Where do you put the greater emphasis?
Right.
Like, I can't afford this. What about the mindset of I can't afford not to do this? And it's where you place the most pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that was a brilliant way to look at it, to really force my mind to say, what do you want, dude? Who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want? Because regret sucks. It sucks to think of, if I would have been doing X, Y, or Z, for the last 2 years, think of how far I could be along in this particular journey. I don't want that anymore. If I'm coming around, and sometimes there's failure that repeats. It's familiar, but it's not the same
Right.
because you're in a different place. But I just think it's really important to finally decide who you want to be. And you're going to fail. I fail all the time. I fail. But it doesn't mean I abandon the standard, but I don't abuse myself mentally over it anymore. I mean, you could go back to mine and Josh's YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
and just see all the hard work that I would put in. 10 sessions of cardio, stick straight to my diet, to right tooth and nail to it, get on the scale and gain a pound.
Oh, oh my gosh.
And it was
Oh
demoralizing.
my gosh.
But how often do you go back and look at the first video to remind yourself, hey, a pound up or down is nothing. It's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Look at where you started. Give yourself a break. And I had to do that a little bit to say, dude, you don't have to have all the answers. Teamwork makes the frickin' dream work. So be who you say you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Be that man. Be the man. And hopefully it encourages other people to step up and be who they said they would be.
Right.
And you're right. It just starts. Don't try to take it all on at once. Start with promises you can keep to yourself.
Right.
Promises you make, promises you keep. Understand that if you fail, you have that
Learning
24-hour. Yeah, it's like it is a learning curve, but it's like, okay, you get 24 hours to get all your frustrations out about it or less and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that are friends or family that, it's like, oh, you have to be in the limelight. You've always this, you've always that, and your little podcast this and that. And it's like, I don't value those comments anymore. It's like selective caring, I guess, because obviously I do still have that care about what people think about me
Mm-hmm.
that I'm sure we're going to get down to the root of through this adventure.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't really even think, about those 4 things that you said.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said them. I'm just repeating what it is that you were expressing.
It's odd that the last one you picked was worth and value, and it's like it's on the bottom, and it's like it's the foundation of that. I did not have a lot of self-worth or value when this whole coaching thing began
Right.
10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. It's been a decade-ish, I think.
Right.
And now to hear myself saying that I do have worth and value, and that's why I'm keeping the commitment to
Mhm.
myself, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
You could see where the growth has come in, and you're definitely embracing that.
So I think it's good for people to really reconsider how bad's the embarrassment really going to be. Is it worth eating like another meal of regret instead of just deciding, you know what, this is who I said I want to be, and I'm going to go figure out how to get there.
Right.
And then have somebody help you move through that. And if you don't, maybe the root cause is you don't see any worth in yourself and you don't see any value in you. And like you said, Coach Rita, what story are you telling yourself?
Exactly. Because that speaks louder than anything anybody can say is what you're telling yourself. That has more volume, more weight, um, more emphasis than anything that I could say. So it's really coming down to try to open up. Like I keep asking you, well, who told you that? What, because that's the story that you're telling yourself, and that's what you are living out. As much as we say, no, what they said to me, that doesn't bother me. Or, that didn't bother me. A work situation, that didn't bother me. But still there's behaviors that follow it that and you see it. And
Yeah.
it does bother you.
Yeah.
It's
And
just coming out in a different way.
right. And usually in retaliation to people that have nothing to do with the story you're telling yourself. So I hope this helps you who are listening. I hope that you will just take a moment to listen to the story you're telling yourself, because it's like, well, we want you to think about what you're thinking about. This is actually that in a more simple and impactful formula. Is what's the story you're telling yourself? And I guess, just looking at all the people that have come to me for health advice and saying that they want, to change their life or whatever the case is, maybe they just don't value themselves enough.
Right.
There's not enough self-worth there for them to actually invest in who they are and begin the process of changing. It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, there's some things you can put into practice, but that long-term change doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
And I look, it's like, oh, wow, it has been a decade. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And I can look at pictures, before and after pictures. I like up on my Instagram. Put those things side by side, and it's like, whoa.
A lot has changed.
I wish there was a way to gauge this internal report card to say, here's where I started and here's where I am now.
Right.
I mean, I could go back and look at the life philosophy that I wrote down, and I said, this is who I'm going to become.
Right.
And the opposite of that is who I was.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know, because I remember looking at that part of the video and standing up in front of everybody, crying my eyes out, I did not have self-worth. It wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I had no value in me. And maybe that's why I didn't think I was worth people looking at my problems. Maybe that's where it stems from. And even though part of that's gone, I'm still telling myself that same story.
Mm-hmm.
That your problems aren't worth people listening to. So, why find out? Why get the pain of finding that out, that your problems really don't matter to people? Or, not giving somebody the opportunity to connect with me there.
Mm-hmm.
Because where, it's like surrounding yourself with those great people. Where I'm weak, they'll be strong, and I can be strong for them somewhere else.
Right.
Instead of just trying to be strong for everybody in every area. Because that doesn't help anybody. It didn't help me. It just caused a really poor story to be told over and over again. And, it's like, where do you place your value? Because obviously, being nearly 400 pounds, something was out of balance,
Right.
So, wow.
Food for thought.
Food.
And I know some of you might be thinking, you just listening, like, how do I know what is the story that I'm telling myself? It's like I said earlier, you pick that one thing that you said you want to do, you want to try, you want to reach out, you want to give it a whirl. What's stopping you? And that's the story that you're telling yourself.
Well, okay.
So you put yourself out there. You make an intentional decision. This is what I keep saying that I'm going to try. Whether an entrepreneur, your health journey, marriage counseling, going to a marriage conference. I don't know. I don't know what that one thing is for everybody. But put that out there and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. What is the story that you're telling yourself that's stopping you from doing it? And that's the story. That's your story. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So even though it's just that one thing that you're saying I want to do, and this is what it is, it's stopping you. It's probably stopping you in a whole lot of other areas in your life than just that one area.
Right.
So that's just a way to figure out what is the story I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can help you in to get that inner dialogue. What are you really telling yourself? That thought process of what you're telling yourself, how you're convincing yourself that you're not worth it. And then go from there.
Yeah. And whatever you do, don't go this journey alone.
Right.
You don't have to do it alone. I'm fortunate. I live in the same city as Coach Rita. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But my keto carnivore coach, he lives completely on the East Coast, and I live completely on the West Coast. And that's okay.
Hey, phones are a wonder.
Yeah.
FaceTime.
You don't, no matter what you think, and I want to make this point before we close it out, no matter what you think, you're not alone.
Right.
If you are alone, you're alone by choice. And you don't have to be.
Right.
I didn't have to be alone in this keto journey. And I have two of my kids that have decided to go keto. One kind of tiptoes around. One is like all in. She's all in keto. And it's impressive. It's impressive to see her resolve in what she believes and what she wants for her health. And
right.
It's just a wonderful thing, but you're not alone. You don't have to do this on your own. And we're here to tell you that you can reach out to us. We have people reaching out to us now that we've never met face to face.
Right.
But that they're putting trust in us that we can help them in the part of the journey where they're at right now, their current experience. And I mean, it's a thing for me. I want to be that expression that people need in the moment. And I want and need people to be that expression for me too.
Right.
And there's no harm, no foul in putting yourself out there. So that was a really great question to ask, because it makes me think.
Uh-huh.
I was there, I took the action, I know why, but I didn't really go back and think, why the heck am I doing this? So that was good for me. I can't wait to listen to this to see what I said to me. It just kind of reinforces it,
Right.
It reinforces the reason or the method behind the madness.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'm sure that this helps somebody. And if for nobody else in the world, maybe it helped me. And I can be okay with that.
Me
but
too.
I want it to help other people. I love you, humanity. I got a lot of love for you. We all God's children. All right, well, hey, I think that's a good place to end the episode. So we will do it right there. We would love for you to reach out to us via email. It's coach@manvsmarriagepodcast.com. coach@manvsmarriagepodcast.com. And come join us on Facebook at MVSM Podcast. Come join the party. Connect. Meet other people that are going through this journey, that are taking life by the horns. And we will see you there, or be square. Anything else, Coach Rita?
That is it.
All right, I'll let you sign us off. What do you got?
We will see you next time. Join us.
To infinity and beyond.
There you go.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.